Now let's explore a very practical and increasingly important skill, detecting deception in written text. Because today, a huge part of communication happens through messages, emails, chats, and social media, where you don't have body language or tone to rely on. So the question is, can you still detect a deception without seeing or hearing the person? The answer is yes, but the approach changes. In written communication, your primary tools are language patterns, structure, and consistency. Let's start with level of detail. Just like in spoken communication, deceptive writing often falls into two extremes, too vague or overly detailed. A person might avoid specifics to reduce risk using phrases like, it was fine, nothing unusual happened, or they may go in the opposite direction, adding unnecessary details to sound convincing. But those details often feel slightly forced or irrelevant. Next, pay attention to clarity and directness. Truthful writing tends to be straightforward and natural, but deceptive messages may feel indirect, not fully answering the question, or circling around the main point. You might notice that the core issue is never addressed clearly. Another powerful cue is word choice and commitment. Look for qualifiers like I think, maybe, as far as I remember. These reduce commitment. Again, they are normal in everyday language, but when they appear repeatedly around important points, they can signal uncertainty or distancing. You should also watch for pronouns usage. In written text, distancing can become even more noticeable. For example, mistakes were made instead of I made a mistake. This removes personal ownership and can indicate an attempt to avoid responsibility. Now let's talk about consistency over time. Written communication gives you an advantage. You can reread and compare. Look for changes in story, shifts in wording, new details appearing later that weren't mentioned before. These inconsistencies can be easier to spot in text than in live conversation. Another subtle signal is timing and response behavior. Does the person take unusually long to respond to simple questions? Do they reply quickly to safe topics but delay on specific ones? This can indicate cognitive load, more time needed to construct a response. You might also notice editing patterns, messages that are corrected, rewritten, or structured very carefully. While this can simply mean someone is thoughtful, it can also indicate increased effort to manage the message. Now, here's a powerful concept: what's missing matters. In written communication, people have time to think, so if key details are consistently avoided or ignored, that absence becomes meaningful. But let's stay grounded. Written text removes emotional and physical cues, which means your margin for error is higher. You must be even more careful not to jump to conclusions. So always ask, is this their normal writing style? Are there patterns across multiple messages? Are important questions being answered directly? Because just like everything else in lie detection, it's not about one message, it's about patterns over time. As you develop this skill, you'll start reading messages differently. You won't just see words on a screen, you will notice structure, intention, and subtle shifts in how information is presented. And once you do, even in the absence of face to face interaction, you will still be able to detect when something doesn't quite add up. Thank you and see you in the next lecture.